E-learning is a tool that we have all started to use recently. It has become custom to many students in their everyday lives. E-learning provides a big number of advantages, but also provides a decent number of disadvantages. E-learning has its advantages and disadvantages with the flexibility it provides you while using a completely different learning approach online from regular in-person school learning. E-learning has a lot of flexibility for students. This way, learning allows you to work at your own pace. TargetStudy.com mentions how students are not into a set routine, so they are making their own decisions for what they want to learn and when they want to learn it. This really allows students to focus on their strengths rather than subjects they are not necessarily fond of. Now, being online gives you the disadvantages of getting distracted easily. TargetStudy.com also says the control is within the hands of the students. It is the student who decides what they want to study and when to study. In this case, students become careless. They may neglect the fact that they have to study. There is no motivation for them. No regularity exists in e-learning. This is a major drawback for e-learning. TargetStudy.com. Students may not learn as well as they would in school because of the lack of discipline and assistance they have. When being on a computer learning, you get the advantage of being able to create your own study schedule, which helps you later in life with being able to manage your time well. TargetStudy.com mentions that the routine of e-learning is very flexible. TargetStudy.com. Time management can be taught using online learning. Additionally, e-learning gives you a different learning approach. Being virtual when you are learning gives you less face-to-face interaction. CommunityArticulate.com points out that there are many ways to counteract this potential for isolation. For example, by recreating the social aspect of training online via discussion boards or instant messaging, or by supplementing e-learning courses within class sessions. CommunityArticulate.com. Being online can lead you to the feel of loneliness or isolation because you are not interacting with classmates face to face. This learning approach used for virtual learners may not be right fit for your different people respond to different ways of learning. CommunityArticulate.com talks about how, as e-learning course developers, it is our job to make sure courses are engaged to ensure our learners pay attention and soak up the information. CommunityArticulate.com. As they mention, this may be one of the ways to consider the fact that many people may not respond to online teaching. When in person you have your students and teachers there to help you and motivate you, but when you're online, you can start to feel unmotivated. CommunityArticulate.com also mentions how some people contend that people have to be extremely motivated to get something out of online learning and training. I would argue that it's the same for in-class training. CommunityArticulate.com. The employees as well as the students have to have a lot of motivation to be able to learn and teach well. Lastly, e-learning is solely using a computer or some type of device. Being on a device gives you easy access to Google with infinite resources to use. TargetStudy.com says students need access to different kinds of resources. These resources can be notes, theories, diagrams, etc. In e-learning, the resources are made available to students at any time of day. TargetStudy.com. The internet allows you to so much information you can learn in different ways. Although there are infinite sources in the internet, it cannot be reliable. Sometimes because the internet can be slow or can completely glitch out and shut down. Easy LMS states that it is important to assess whether your employees are computer savvy and whether they have appropriate setup for online learning. EasyLMS.com. It is just as important for a student to be computer savvy as the employees, if they have to feel completely comfortable with it, so you can solve some malfunctions if needed. Technology itself can reduce costs. EasyLMS.com says that in 2019, U.S. training expenses amounted to $83 billion. Of that, $29.6 billion was spent on travel, training facilities, in-house training development, and equipment. Online learning cuts many of these costs, including those associated with hiring instructors, booking a facility, printing materials, and travel. EasyLMS.com. These statistics show how technology may seem like it is costly, but in the big picture, it is actually reducing costs. E-learning has its advantages and disadvantages too. Different people respond to different learning approaches with lots of flexibility time on your hands. You can be very tech savvy being on a device all day.